it going, YouTube? My name is ElvinNinja7, your resident Mistweaver monk and favorite healer YouTuber, and today I'm going to be making a step-by-step guide to get started playing Mistweaver in 2023. So this is more of a beginner's guide for the current iteration of Mistweaver, and that is the 10.07 playstyle. So we're going to be going over Fistweaving in this video. There will be a lot of caster and ranged Mistweaver guides that you might see popping up on my channel soon, so stay tuned for that. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So as a Mistweaver, you're one of the two melee healing specs, and in World of Warcraft the melee specs don't have to sit there and cast. So if you think of a mage, they're back there casting firebolts while the warriors are just in there whacking stuff. We are in there whacking stuff, and we can do all of our stuff without casting. It is as soon as we press the button, it happens. So that's good and bad because we're susceptible to some of the melee mechanics. So we might it might get a little bit more clustered, and we might have to move around a bit more. But the thing is, we can move while playing the spec. We can actually punch and kick stuff and heal people while on the move, whereas some other classes cannot. So that's an upside in itself. So let's start off with how we do our damage. So we have one punch and 3 kicks. So our punch is called Tiger Palm, and it's just a punch. It's not on a cooldown or anything. We can just sit there and spam it if we wanted to, but it's a very weak single target hit. Next up is Rising Sun Kick. It is on a cooldown. It's this spell right here, and it's on a 10-second cooldown. It does a big single target hit. So it is super strong single target. Next up we have Blackout Kick. Now, Blackout Kick is very powerful. It's somewhere between Tiger Palm and Rising Sun Kick in terms of strength, but it has a lot of synergies with some of our talents that you guys will come to see. So those are the three single target things. Now let's talk about our AoE kick, our third kick, which is Spinning Crane Kick, and as you see, it just does AoE damage. So we're going to press this when there's about 4+ targets, and you will get the most amount of damage out of that. Now, why am I talking about our damage abilities when I'm talking about a healer class, or just one of our healers? So we actually do a lot of our healing, and in fact it's most of our healing in a Mythic Plus environment through our damage, and we do that by Ancient Teachings, or this talent right here. So after we cast Essence Font or Feline Stomp, our Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Rising Sun Kick, so those 3 kicks that aren't our AoE abilities, will heal based on the amount of damage that we do. So let's go ahead and talk about Essence Font. So that kind of takes us into some of our abilities that do healing, and we will come back to that Ancient Teachings in just a second. So we do a lot of our healing through HOTS, and what that is we apply a HOT, or a heal over time, to someone, and it'll do its healing over time. So what it looks like is I press it now, my hands are off the keyboard, and as you see, I am healing. I don't have myself targeted, but you see there is just healing ticking away right here because that hot went to him. So it's really good because we can press a button now and it'll do its healing later, so we can get back to doing damage while that healing is happening. Now we do this through 3 of our main hot abilities, and that is 1, Essence Font. This ability right here, you can see it on my bars right here. So we just sit there and channel, spewing out healing bolts to people, and they'll do a big initial heal, or it's about a medium-sized initial heal, but then it leaves a tiny little hot on them, and that's what that hot is. That's rolling. That's what these numbers are that are popping up. So it's really good in a raid environment where you have 20 people to hit. So it won't hit all 20 of them, but it'll spew out to a good chunk of that 20 people. But in Mythic Plus, it'll just hit the same 5 people over and over. So you'll be getting that nice little first burst of healing, but you're not going to be leaving as many HOTS behind. So that's why you get more value in raid, because you're just leaving more HOTS behind. So in Mythic Plus, it loses a little bit of its efficiency, but the value comes when you use it to apply your Ancient Teachings buff. So I'm going to channel Essence Font, and then like Ancient Teachings said, after we do it, we have 15 seconds where now our kicks are going to do healing. So watch, see that 17,000, that 4,000, that 17,000, that's from our kicks through Ancient Teachings. So that's how that works. And now the buff is gone, so if I do a kick, no one gets healed. But if I reapply it, and then I do another kick, you see people get healed when I kick. I think it's healing someone behind me. See, 20,000, and there was a 19,000 down here. So we do a lot of our healing through Ancient Teachings because you see that number is really hard hitting. It's a big, bursty heal. Now let's talk about our other two hots. So one of the hots is called Enveloping Mist. Now this is a very, very powerful targeted, single target hot that we can apply to someone, but although it's powerful, it has a cast time, so we do actually sit still and cast this one, and it has a high mana cost. So if I cast Enveloping Mist on myself, this is what it looks like. And as you see, it ticks pretty quickly, but it does a lot of healing. See, it's ticking for 6,000, 12,000 per tick, as you can see on my player frame. But let's go and look at the spell. So here it reads that it heals for 45,000 over 7 seconds. So it lasts 7 seconds, but it also increases all the healing from our other spells by 40%. So all in all, it is just a very powerful single target hot. Where it loses its efficiency and makes it less of an attractive button to press is just that it costs a lot of mana. See, if I sit here and spam it, you'll watch my mana bar, this blue bar here, I will just go down in mana very quickly. So that's one way, and then also the fact that we're actually taking time to cast it just makes it less of an efficient spell. Now, talking about efficiency, let's talk about our third and final hot, which is Renewing Mist. So I'm going to apply it to myself, but you're going to see it jump to another person, and I'll explain that. So all I do is I press it. You see these two green bars? That is the amount of charges that I have, or how many that I have saved up that I can press and apply to people. So I apply it to myself. One of them goes on cooldown, and you see it jumps to this target. So Renewing Mist is a hot, and as you'll see, it does 28,000 healing over 20 seconds. So it lasts almost 3 times as long. So it lasts a long time, which is good. But it does about a third less healing, or about, I guess, half of its healing is, basically it went from like 43,000 on Enveloping Mist to 28,000. So it does about a third less healing. So how it works is you apply the hot to someone, and if they get to full health while they have that hot on them, that hot will just finish onto someone else. It'll jump to someone else and start healing them instead for the rest of its duration. So this spell is very efficient because you will never overheal. You'll never sit there wasting mana, wasting a cast on healing someone that's full health. It'll just jump to someone that actually needs healing. So it's really good in that sense, but where the real strength of this spell comes in is how it synergizes with our actual spot heal. And our spot heal is not a hot. I call it a spot heal because you point at someone and you do a cast to heal them, and it heals them in an instant. It does all of its healing up front all at once, and that is Vivify. So how Vivify works is you literally just look at you channel a cast on someone and you'll heal them. I can't find it in the book. Oh my gosh. It's a monk ability. Give me a second. Okay, so Vivify calls a surge of invigorating mist, healing the target for 18,000. The rest of it is attached by a talent. So you just target someone, you heal them with Vivify. You see right here, you're going to see how much healing it does. You just do all the healing all at once. It doesn't apply a hot or anything. But where the real strength comes in with Vivify and Renewing Mist is that they synergize very well through talents. So this talent right here, Vivify heals all allies with your Renewing Mist on them for a big chunk. So let's apply Renewing Mist to 2 of these dummies. So see, 2 of these dummies now have our Renewing Mist on them. I'm going to heal myself with Vivify. And as you see, it heals them for a big chunk as well. So it's healing me for 13,000 and it's healing them for 16,000. So now all of a sudden, when you get all these Renewing Mists out, you see right now I have 2 more that I can apply. So let's apply one here. Let's apply one here, and those 2 just fell off. So now we still have those 2 out. But now, as you see, I can do a lot of AoE or area of effect or cleave healing. I'm not just healing myself. I'm healing myself, but it's cleaving healing onto everyone else in my party that has a Renewing Mist on them. So it's very, very powerful. And that is when both of these spells, all of a sudden, they go from being a good spell and doing good amount of healing for their cast and mana cost to now being super efficient, because now not only are we getting this Vivify on ourself or on the target that we select, but we're healing the people, everyone that has a renewing mist on them. So that is a lot of synergy and how we can do that healing. So now we've basically gone over the main ways to heal in Mythic Plus, which are Ancient Teachings and Vivify, cleaving with our renewing mist on. But now let's go over our talents, because I think there are some very important talents and some key talents that I always take in Mythic Plus versus just basically every other talent, which is really good. I mean, if you look at all of these talents on the Mistweaver tree, you can make an argument for taking any of them, and I highly recommend that you guys test all these that are grayed out, because we have some great talents and a lot of great playstyles in our talent tree. But for today's video, I'm going to be going over what I have selected. These are my recommended talents. I'll make sure and remember to put them in the description below, so you make sure you guys import that. But the main things are basically these things down here at the bottom. So we have Feline Stomp, which I'll go over, and Shayloon's Gift, which I'll go over. And then Ancient Teachings, which I've already gone over. But I want you to notice that it says after casting Essence Font or Feline Stomp, you get the buff. So now what's going to work is I could press Essence Font and you'll see it'll give me this buff, but I just wasted so much time channeling Essence Font. So now I have this buff where when I kick, you're going to see it heal people. See 9,000 and then 9,000. But if I wanted to, I could just press Feline Stomp. So not only does Feline Stomp do damage on anyone that it hits, so we're not wasting that time channeling doing 0 damage, we're actually doing damage while giving ourselves the buff. So it's just better for us in Mythic Plus since we want it, since we care about our damage more than in Raid. But we're still getting this buff. Now, as you'll see, we are so much stronger while we stand on this buff. See, all those yellow numbers weren't there before, and that is because these other talents. So let's go ahead and read Feline Stomp and how it works. Like I said, we strike the ground and we do damage to 5 people that are in our path, or we heal 5 people in our path, and it can heal and damage up to 10 people. So it's really good if you do want to aim it at your allies or just at enemies, but it's so useful and you want to be on it constantly, so I would recommend aiming it where you're going. So if you see that your tank is pulling one pack to another, aim it toward that next pack instead of just shooting it through your allies. That way you'll be able to stand on it the whole time that you walk over. So that's how it works, and it shoots an Essence Font bolt through your allies, so it'll just do that. Kind of is how it does its healing. But this Ancient Concordance is super strong. So our Blackout Kicks now strike 3 targets. So as you remember before, Tiger Palm is single target, Rising Sun Kick is single target and hits hard, Blackout Kick is single target. But now here, Blackout Kick is now AoE. It doesn't hit up to, you can't hit 20 enemies. It is strictly capped at 3 targets. So obviously you'll get your most efficiency if you have 3 targets to hit by just cycling Tiger Palms and Blackout Kicks. But it's also very good once you have 4 or 5 targets, and it kind of outscales Spinning Crane Kick there in terms of AoE damage. So it just makes Blackout Kick super strong, and it'll feel just powerful when you press it. Also, you have a 10% chance to reset the cooldown of Rising Sun Kick, and I'll get into this in just a second. So yeah, so Blackout Kick just gets a huge buff while you're standing on your Feline. Now, Awakened Feline, your abilities reset Feline Stomp 100% more often. So, as you'll see, Feline Stomp, I'll press it, it has a 30-second cooldown, but as long as I'm on my Feline, I have a chance to reset the cooldown. So now if the tank moves over here, I can apply it over here, and now all of a sudden, see, I just got another reset. Our abilities have a big chance to reset the cooldown of Feline Stomp. So we could keep spamming it, keep replacing it, and it just becomes really good. As long as we're standing on it, we're getting all these buffs. But also, while we're on our Feline Stomp, our Tiger Palms now strike twice. So when we press Tiger Palm, it's going to hit twice. And this is very powerful for a reason that I promise I will get to. But what's really good is that Spinning Crane Kick now heals 3 nearby allies for 70% of the damage done. So, as I mentioned with Ancient Teachings, our other 3 damaging abilities would heal while we had the Ancient Teachings buff. But now, our Spinning Crane Kick heals while we're on our Feline. So if we're on our Feline, not only will our Blackout Kicks heal allies over here, see, Rising Sun Kick's going to heal. Blackout Kick heals, Tiger Palm heals over there. But now our spinning crane kick is doing healing too based on its damage. And you see all that healing that you can get on big AoE packs. It just makes it a good option. Whereas before you would be spamming spinning crane kick strictly for damage on AoE packs because it's the most damaging ability on big packs. But you would not be getting healing in the while you're doing that. But now that fixes that big problem, and you will be getting healing from your spinning crane kick as long as you're on a Fey line. See, right now I'm not on my Fey line; it disappeared, so I'm not doing any healing to these guys right here. So that is why we take all of these 3 talents. Now let's talk about Sheilun's Gift. So how Sheilun's Gift works is every couple of seconds I'll spawn a little gust of mist around while I'm in combat. See right there, I was just kicking, so I spawned some gusts, or some little puddles of mist, I'll call them. And right now, as you see on my Sheilun's Gift icon, I have a number 8. So there are 8 little puddles of mist all over here. You might not be able to see some of them because they're probably stacked on top of each other. But we have 8 puddles right next to us. When I press Sheilun's Gift, it's going to consume every stack that's available to us and get more powerful based on the amount of stacks. So how Sheilun's Gift is worded is it draws in all nearby clouds of mist, healing the friendly target and up to 4 nearby allies for 12,000 per cloud absorbed. So if we absorb 10 clouds, it's going to do 120,000 on that ally. So the more clouds we get, the more powerful it is. Now, I want to note, normally it says it heals the target and 2 nearby allies. But what they just changed is they added this talent where now if we take this talent, Sheilun's Gift now heals 5 people. So that's so good in Mythic Plus because it's a group-wide heal. It will heal the entire party and heal them to full. It's doing 120,000 if you let it stack up all the way. But we're going to use it with, we have 0 stacks, so let's get into combat. Let's start spawning some clouds of mist, and I will show you how it works. Okay, so we are in combat, and we will let these be generating. But let's talk about this talent node. Both of them are great. Veil of Pride just halves the amount of time that it takes for 1 cloud to spawn. So basically, you'll get to 10 stacks in half the amount of time while in combat. But Xiao's Lesson is very good because whenever you use Sheilun's Gift, however many stacks or clouds of mist that you absorb is however long a buff is going to last that you apply to yourself. And you can read all 4 of the buffs here. Just know that they are all super powerful and can give you a lot of damage and a lot of healing each. So now that we have some clouds spawned, we have currently 3 clouds spawned. We are going to go ahead and press Sheilun's Gift. 36,000 C, 3 times that 12,000, and like I said, since I have Xiao's Lesson, I get a buff. It is a damage and healing duplication. So that's how that works. It's just so powerful. It kind of fills in the gap. You know, we're going to be doing a lot of damage just punching and kicking, but if we start to fall behind on how much healing is required, so if all this punching and kicking that we're doing to maximize our damage just isn't enough to heal the whole party, we can press Sheilun's Gift as a panic button that we didn't have a couple weeks ago, and it will fully top everyone up in a lot of cases. So it's just a powerful, powerful button. So that's kind of the big things that we work for down here. Rising Mist is just really good because whenever we Rising Sun Kick, it's going to do a tiny little heal to everyone that has any amount of hot on them. So any of our hots, Renewing Mist, Enveloping Mist, or Essence Font, it'll heal them. But where it gets really good is it extends the buffs. So now Renewing Mist, it lasts 20 seconds. If we get 5 Rising Sun Kicks in while a Renewing Mist is applied, it's going to last 40 seconds. Which, as you know, with every Renewing Mist out, that makes Vivify even stronger. So this is just a really good synergy talent. It's not worth going too far in depth because we don't change our rotation much for it because we're already pressing Rising Sun Kick as much as possible since it does a lot of damage. But I want to quickly touch on this. So Teachings of the Monastery. This is another big talent that I highly recommend you guys get used to playing because it is so powerful. So Tiger Palm causes our next Blackout Kick to strike an additional time, stacking up to 3 times. And then this is also what gives Blackout Kick a chance to reset the cooldown of Rising Sun Kick. So Rising Sun Kick has a 10-second cooldown. Every time that we Blackout Kick, if we have this talented, we have a 15% chance to reset the cooldown of Rising Sun Kick, so we can do it again and get a big heal through our Ancient Teachings and a big chunk of damage through Rising Sun Kick. So that's really good. And that last part is this thing tacked onto it. But, oh, and then also right here, let's see. Oh, right here it says your blackout kicks also have an additional 10% chance while we're on our Phaline if we took this talent. So if we have this talent and this talent, then our blackout kicks while we're standing on our Phaline will have a 25% chance to reset that Rising Sun Kick cooldown. And it's just super powerful and just lets us cycle those Rising Sun Kicks, getting a lot more Rising Mist procs, and just getting a lot of healing done that way. So let's talk about some math. I know everyone loves math, but this is very simple math, I totally promise. So if we Tiger Palm, we're pressing one button, obviously. Now, let's say that we don't Tiger Palm. Let's say that we Blackout Kick. We press one button, being Blackout Kick, and we get one Blackout Kick out of return. So one button, one ability for a return. If we Tiger Palm and then Blackout Kick, we're going to Tiger Palm, that's one button, one ability, and then Blackout Kick. But since our Tiger Palm causes our next Blackout Kick to strike an additional time, we're going to press Tiger Palm, one button, one ability, Blackout Kick, and that's going to hit twice. So now we've pressed two buttons and gotten three abilities in return. And so that stacks up to 3 times. So if we press Tiger Palm 3 times and then Blackout Kick once, that Blackout Kick is going to hit 4 times. So now we've pressed 4 buttons and got 7 buttons or abilities out of that. 4 of those being Blackout Kicks. So it's just really cool and a really cool synergy. So now every Tiger Palm actually, because Tiger Palm is weak, we've shown this. It barely does any damage. There's no real point in pressing it other than we have now stacked up 3 teachings in the monastery. And our next Blackout Kick, I'm going to press Blackout Kick once. Hit 4 times, and that is a lot. Now, where this gets really, really disgusting is let's apply our Ancient Teachings buff. So now our Blackout Kicks and our Tiger Palms are going to heal. So I'm going to get 3 stacks, 2, 3. Now I'm going to press Blackout Kick. You see all those 8,000s, that 18,000. So our Blackout Kick now will hit 4 times, or I guess up to 4 times based on how many Tiger Palms we've pressed since our last Blackout Kick. So it can just add this really big burst of damage and healing that you can do. So if you know that a mechanic's about to hit really hard, you can Tiger Palm a couple times, and then once the mechanic hits, then you can cash in those to press Blackout Kick and get a ton of healing that way. Where this also gets really cool is we can Tiger Palm. I'm going to stack those up again. 3, so I have 3 stacked up. And now I'm going to go and apply our Ancient Teachings buff so our hits are going to heal. Now I'm going to Rising Sun Kick. You saw, I don't know where the heal went, but it heals for a ton. And then I have 3 of those stacks now. Watch our Rising Sun Kick cooldown. Oh, we didn't hit it. But all of those Blackout Kicks had a 15% chance to reset Rising Sun Kick. Let's do it again because I want to show it. So we have our Ancient Teachings buff. We're healing a lot. We're Tiger Palm, Tiger Palm, Tiger Palm. We're going to Rising Sun Kick, Blackout Kick. And you see it reset the cooldown so we can Rising Sun Kick again. So where this gets even cooler is if you remember, Ancient Concordance Blackout Kick now strikes 3 targets. 3 targets. So let's do this. Let's apply our Ancient Teachings buff, but also lay down a Phaline, both of which is accomplished by just pressing our Phaline Stomp. Now we're going to stack up 3 Blackout Kicks, 2, 3, and I'm going to press Blackout Kick. See, all those hits came from one button because our Blackout Kick would hit 4 times on 3 targets. So now our Blackout Kick hits 12 targets when we press it if we have all the stacks, and it just becomes a huge burst. And look at how much healing it does too. So let's wait for our Phaline Stomp to come off cooldown. So we have 3 stacks of our Tiger Palm. We've saved 3 Tiger Palms. I'm going to apply that. We have our Ancient Teachings. Let's see how much healing it does. Look at how much healing that does. That would top up a whole party that's at like 70% health. It does so much healing, so it's just really good. So that is kind of the basics to get started to understanding the Mistweaver's abilities. But let's go ahead and jump into just a quick rotation. So number 1 rule is that we always want to have an Ancient Teachings buff. So if we can, we want to press Phaline Stomp and stand on it. But say that we have to move over here in that Phaline Stomp, we didn't get the reset, then we would apply it through Essence Font. So now we have that buff and we're good to go. We can just keep doing our punching and kicking. But if there are 4 or 5 or more targets, or I'm sorry, 5 or more targets, we're going to just be spinning, crane kicking as long as that's getting the job done. If this starts to not do enough healing on a single target, say your tank is taking a beating, then we can start our single target hits that'll do bigger single target heals and heal the tank up that way. So we basically want to do Rising Sun Kick on cooldown, and while it's off cooldown, we're going to be cycling Tiger Palms. And there's no real best answer to how many Tiger Palms should I stack up before Blackout Kick, so just feel it out. Honestly, there's no right answer because every scenario is different. But while there's 5 or less targets, the most AoE damage that we do is just by cycling Tiger Palms and Blackout Kicks while standing on this Feline Stomp. Now, I quickly also want to say something that I forgot to totally mention, is while we're on our Feline, if you remember, Tiger Palm strikes twice. So, like how I did that math a second ago, where if I press Tiger Palm once, that's 1 button press, and then I press Blackout Kick once, that's 2 button presses. But as you see, we got, what was that, 6 or maybe even 9 Blackout Kicks from that 1 Blackout Kick press, because Tiger Palm hit twice, giving us 2 stacks of the extra Blackout Kicks. So it adds up a ton. Hopefully you guys understand that little synergy. But yeah, so let's look at this. So we're doing we applied our Feline Stomp. We're standing on it. We are on this blue line, and we are just cycling these 3 abilities. That came off cooldown. That came off cooldown. That came off cooldown. That's not yet off cooldown. So we're gonna Tiger Palm, and yeah, we basically just do that. Our Ancient Teachings fell off, and we just reapply it. We're gonna Feline Stomp again. It's really simple. It's really easy to pick up Mistweaver and start playing because Ancient Teachings is just so intuitive and such a genius little play style. So that's it. We're doing a ton of healing, as you see, and it's just a ton of fun. Now, I'm not going to go over all these extra synergies, so like all these extra talents. I'll let you guys read those, and I know that sucks to do in a guide, but it was a beginner's guide, and I gave you guys all the tools necessary to play Mistweaver at a very strong level. And go ahead, you guys could probably watch this video and get up to like plus 18s easily, because that's how good this class is and how strong it is, and basically how simple the bare minimum is. But all these extra things just synergize with what we're already doing. I do have another video going over Chi-Ji, so look up Chi-Ji on my channel and you'll find a guide video. It does get a little bit more complicated, but it's nothing too serious, so I highly recommend checking that out. But other than that, you guys will understand what all these talents do if you read them based on what I've told you, because the rest of them kind of just reference abilities that we just went over. So that'll do it for that. And before we go, I do want to talk about stats. I did want to mention this in the video because it's a little weird. We do have a weird scaling with our class. So haste will always be our best stat as of now, because it scales really well. The more haste we have, the more punches and kicks that we can get in per fight. So it just gives us a lot more versatility. It allows us to make a few mistakes too, because if we make a mistake and don't heal the right person, since our next ability will come up even quicker, then we'll be able to right that wrong even quicker. So haste is just very good, and it just adds a lot more healing to us, because like I said, more kicks equals more healing. So next up, it's a 50-50 split, because if you're leveling, if you're a low level, you actually want to go with your mastery. So mastery, basically any spell that we point at someone and actually click it. So Renewing Mist is a great example. Vivify is a great example. All of these spells proc our mastery. And what it does is it just heals them for a flat amount based on how much mastery we have. So where that scales really well with low item level and low player level is that if I were an item level 200 monk, and if I were an item level 400 monk, whether I had 100 mastery on either of those characters would mean that I'm doing that 10,000 healing that it says right there, regardless. So if I'm 200 item level and I have 100% mastery, I'll heal for 10,000. Whereas if I'm right now at 418 with 100% mastery, I'll heal for 10,000. So as you can see now, if we're a low level and we scale up our mastery, it's going to heal for a big chunk for that level. So mastery gets a lot of value lower level. But since we're higher item level, so if you're a higher item level, the in-game monks, you actually want to do crit next. So crit just scales our healing so much. Since we're already healing a lot, basically doubling that healing by critting is just very strong. So we want a lot of crits. So basically haste, crit, and then at a high level, verse comes next and then mastery. Whereas at a low level, it would be haste, mastery, crit, verse. So basically, mastery is really bad late game, but it's very strong early game. So it basically moves from fourth to last, and then the rest is just haste, crit, verse. So that's the stats. That's the play style. It's a ton of fun. I highly recommend it. Look at what we can do. Look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. What other healer class can do this? I mean, can just sit there and spam spinning crank egg. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend you pick it up, and it's only going to get better in 10.1. Make sure that you guys are subscribed down below. Go ahead and check that because YouTube's been unsubscribing people lately. It's very weird, but make sure that you are subscribed because I have a lot of guide videos coming, especially once 10.1 drops. I'm going to make a guide video for that and all about our new tier set, and it's just going to be a ton of fun, lots of new content coming. And if you're watching this the day that it was posted, which would be Sunday, April 2nd, I actually am going to go live today, so make sure that you guys check that out on Twitch. I'll try to also stream on YouTube, but I have the same name on Twitch, so I will see you guys over there. And also check out my Patreon, link in the description, and my Discord channel, link in the description. But guys, it's been a ton of fun. Highly recommend Mistweaver, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.